Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into something absolutely fascinating. We're going to be analyzing the raw, unfiltered psychology of how everyday, normal people handle extreme, suffocating pressure when life-changing money is on the line. So think about it for a second. Are you built for the quick, explosive adrenaline of a sprint? Or are you wired for the slow, agonizing endurance of a marathon? Well, let's find out. Okay, to kick things off, let's put you right in the hot seat. Just picture this. You're standing on a field. 100 million people are watching your every move. And right across from you is literally the greatest athlete in the entire world at their sport. Now, if you can beat them in one simple acute challenge, you instantly win $1 million. Your heart is absolutely pounding out of your chest. Your hands are sweating. How do you actually think you'd perform in that moment?
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the ultimate skill gap and beating the greatest.
So to try and theoretically level the playing field here, creators used some gigantic physical handicaps. For example, when facing two-time major golf champion Bryson DeChambeau, the amateur, a guy named Aaron, was given a golf hole 50 times bigger than a standard one. 50 times. You could literally sit inside the thing. And then, when a little leaguer, incredibly named Big Justice, went up against two-time baseball MVP Bryce Harper in a home run derby, the kid's fence was moved to exactly half the distance. I mean, those are massive advantages, right? But here is the psychology of the sprint in action. It turns out, despite these wild advantages, the intense pressure of having to perform right in that exact second caused most of the amateurs to just completely crumble. Tom Brady, he easily dispatched a high school quarterback in a balloon throwing contest. Bryson DeChambeau still won because his opponent literally choked and hit his tiebreaker shot directly into the water. And the fastest man on earth, Noah Lyles, completely smoked his first amateur challenger. Though, to be fair, he did later tie streamer IShowSpeed in a dash. But what's really wild is that there were some brilliant upsets. Big Justice actually utilized his half-distance fence to outslug Bryce Harper. No way, right? And that brings us to the ultimate peak of acute performance pressure. A normal guy named Khalid went head-to-head with arguably the greatest soccer player of all time, Cristiano Ronaldo. The challenge? First to hit 3 targets in a goal wins, and for Khalid, $1 million was literally on the line. Despite the immense weight of the moment, Khalid didn't crumble. He found his flow, capitalized on a rare double miss by Ronaldo, and hit his 3 targets first, securing an unbelievable $1 million victory. It just proves that in a psychological sprint, your ability to block out the noise and find your focus is quite literally worth $1 million.
Okay, moving on to Section 2, trapped in the sky.
I'm living the nightmare? Wow, that quote really sets the tone, doesn't it? Because now we're shifting gears from that adrenaline-fueled sports sprint to a grueling, slow-burn psychological marathon. What happens when the pressure isn't over in 5 minutes, but lasts for 30 grueling days? We're looking at a challenge where 2 total strangers were trapped on a tiny platform 100 feet in the sky for a whole month, competing for $250,000. If one person quits, the other gets to keep all the money. It's a dark, draining reality, totally exposed to the elements. And it really all comes down to how your baseline resilience dictates your ability to endure chronic stress. Let's look at our 2 competitors. On one side, we have Allison. She's a heavy equipment demolition worker, completely unbothered by heights and highly adaptable. Basically, she's built for this. But on the other side, we have Angus. He's the star of a UK TV dating show. Almost immediately, he struggles with the cold, he hates his tiny sleeping tent, and he is utterly terrified of the swaying platform. I mean, they are complete polar opposites.
And this brilliantly illustrates the brutal mechanics of this sky challenge. They weren't just sitting up there doing nothing. They were constantly tested, and failure had heavy, compounding physical consequences. Think of it like a giant puzzle that's falling apart. Step 1, if they missed throwing a tennis ball at a target, they literally lost a quarter of their glass floor. Step 2, if they failed to press a button in time, a saw cut a rope, dropping their entire 30-day food supply. Step 3, missing a balloon with a bow and arrow meant losing even more floor panels. Every single mistake caused their world to physically shrink around them. Let's explore what that actually does to a person in Section 3, the psychology of endurance.
Enduring chronic failure destroys morale so much faster than just dealing with bad weather, and you can clearly trace Angus's mental collapse through these compounding mistakes. On day 5, the pressure of making a single tennis ball throw gets to him. He misses. They lose a quarter of their living space, and you can see the guilt start to set in. By day 10, while he's tasked with watching the crucial button to save their food, his eyes literally just glaze over. He loses focus, the saw drops, and their food plummets 100 feet to the ground. The crushing guilt of letting Allison down completely breaks his resolve. Finally, on day 15, desperate for some kind of redemption, he attempts to walk this massive balance beam suspended in the sky to win back their items. His legs shake uncontrollably, the pressure absolutely peaks, and he falls, eliminating himself from the challenge entirely. So this leaves Allison entirely alone for the final 15 days. And wow, her solo survival is an absolute masterclass in mental fortitude. She's up there enduring freezing winds and rain by herself. She's battling the daily, nerve-wracking challenge of shooting balloons out of the sky. And get this, when her accuracy falters, she has to manually choose which pieces of her shrinking floor to unscrew and drop. She fights the sheer mind-numbing isolation by talking to inanimate objects. But it's not all doom and gloom. She gets a massive morale boost when she discovers a hidden $50,000 Starbucks gift card in her crate. And yes, they literally sent a barista 100 feet up into the air in a box to make her daily coffee. Hey, whatever it takes to survive the marathon, right?
Which brings us to the climax on day 30 and section 4, ego and the final choice.
$250,000. Allison has survived the elements, the isolation, and the shrinking platform. And that is the exact life-changing amount of money she has effectively secured just by surviving to the very end. It is right there in her hands.
But then, the ultimate psychological trap presents itself, the battle between logic and ego. She is given a brutal final choice. She can walk away right then and there with her guaranteed $250,000, or she can risk it all on the exact same wobbly balance beam that eliminated her partner Angus. If she walks across it and back, her prize pool instantly doubles to $500,000. But if she falls, she loses absolutely everything, $0. Just imagine the psychological weight of trying to make that decision.
As she's staring down that beam, Allison delivers this incredibly profound quote. I hate that my ego tells me I could do it. I mean, she knows the logic. She knows going home with life-changing money is the smart move. But the temptation to prove her bravery to the world, to double her money, to conquer the very beam that defeated her partner, that's her ego screaming at her to take an unnecessary risk. It is just a profound level of self-awareness in the face of immense pressure. And honestly, we've all been there, haven't we? Knowing the smart move, but letting our pride try to push us toward a dangerous risk.
So what does she actually do? She makes the brilliant, logical choice. She abandons her ego, rejects the offer, and secures her guaranteed $250,000. But here is the absolute craziest part of the whole shebang. The creators let her try the beam just for fun, with absolutely no money on the line, just to see what would have happened. And she falls. She completely loses her balance and drops right off the beam. Her logical choice literally saved her from total disaster and going home empty-handed. It is for sure the ultimate lesson in managing high-stakes pressure and knowing exactly when to silence your own ego. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. You've endured 30 days in the sky. Your ego is begging you to prove yourselves to millions of viewers. The money is dangling right in front of you. Would you have walked the beam? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer today, and I highly recommend keeping your ego in check the next time you're under pressure. See you next time.